ended with an entire stadium watching a team collapse under the weight of it all. In this video, we break down everything that happened in the USA versus Belgium round of 16 clash at the 2026 World Cup. The red card that should never have mattered this much. The phone call from the most powerful man in the world. The rule buried deep in FIFA's disciplinary code that changed everything on a Sunday afternoon. The furious response from Belgium, from UEFA, and from legends of the game. And the 90 minutes in Seattle where all of it came crashing down. By the end, you'll understand why one former FIFA president looked at this whole saga and publicly asked where the sport is even heading, a row, and why. For many people around the world, this match changed how they see the World Cup itself. But to understand how it all fell apart, you first need to understand just how much this tournament meant to the United States. A coming out party. The 2026 World Cup was supposed to be American soccer's coming out party. The tournament was co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, with the majority of matches played on American soil. The United States men's national team arrived with arguably the most talented roster in its history. Yawos, players starring at top clubs across Europe. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and leading the line. Folarin Balogun, the Monaco striker who would become the face of everything that followed. On the sidelines stood Mauricio Pochettino, the celebrated Argentine coach who had managed Tottenham, Paris Saint-Germain, and Chelsea Al-Wawa, a name-brand manager for a team with name-brand ambitions. And for a while, it worked. The Americans went 2-1 in the group stage, beating Paraguay and Australia, before dropping a meaningless final match against Turkey with qualification already secured. Then came the round of 32 and a 2-0 victory over Bosnia and Herzegovina in Santa Clara. It was the program's first World Cup knockout win since 2002, or only the second in its modern history. The host nation was buzzing. The quarterfinals, something the United States men had not reached in 24 years, suddenly felt within touching distance. But that win over Bosnia came with a price nobody could have predicted would grow so large. The red card. It happened in the 64th minute. Balogun, who had already scored the opening goal that night, challenged for a ball with a Bosnian defender. The two players came together. Balogun's boot came down the defender's leg and landed on his ankle. The referee, Rafael Claus of Brazil, saw the contact live and played on no foul, no whistle, nothing. Then the video assistant referee intervened. The VAR recommended an on-field review, judging that Balogun's challenge had been dangerous. Claus walked to the pitch side monitor, watched the replay in slow motion, and came back with a red card for serious foul play. Balogun was off. The Americans played the final 26 minutes of regulation and 10 minutes of stoppage time with 10 men. Held on and won, but under FIFA's competition regulations, a straight red card carries an automatic one-match suspension. No appeal, no exceptions. The rules for the 2026 tournament stated it plainly. A player sent off is suspended from his team's next match. Balogun, the team's leading scorer with 3 goals, would miss the round of 16 against Belgium, or the biggest American match in a generation. Without the American in the best form of his life, the backlash, the reaction was immediate and furious. Pochettino told reporters it was never a red card, that there was no intention to step on the opponent, that this was a normal football action where a player fighting for the ball simply has his feet citing sources familiar with the conversation. The president asked Infantino to review Balogun's punishment. Trump would later confirm the call himself, telling reporters in the Oval Office that he saw the play, that he loves sports, and that in his view it was not a foul or not even an infraction. He described it as two great athletes crashing into each other and getting tangled up. He admitted he did not even know what a red card meant, but Balogun was one of America's best players, and so he asked FIFA to take another look. He did not stop there. The president publicly questioned the referee's credibility. Secretary of State Marco Rubio publicly called for the card to be rescinded. Andrew Giuliani, executive director of the White House Task Force on the World Cup, also spoke with Infantino about the situation. Even Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was reported to be in communication with FIFA. The full weight of the American government was leaning on the governing body of world football over a single disciplinary judgment call in a round of 32 match. Infantino, for his part, would later insist he simply explained the process. In a statement, he said he told the president there was an ongoing legal matter involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies, and that the case would be decided in due course by the competent authorities. According to one source familiar with the call, Infantino told Trump there was nothing he could do. Balogun himself seemed resigned. Speaking 2 days after the red card, he described the ban as something he simply had to accept. The team traveled to Seattle preparing for life without their striker. The questions had been asked, the anger had been vented, and the Americans appeared ready to move on. The reversal. Then came Sunday, and the announcement that detonated underneath the entire tournament. FIFA released a statement declaring that the implementation of Balogun's automatic match suspension was itself being suspended for a probationary period of 1 year. The striker was free to play against Belgium. To justify it, FIFA pointed to Article 27 of its disciplinary code A, a provision allowing judicial bodies to fully or partially suspend the implementation of a disciplinary measure and place the sanctioned player on probation instead. If Balogun committed another offense of similar nature and gravity within the year, the original ban would kick in on top of any new punishment. FIFA also noted that the U.S. Federation had been fined $40,000 and insisted the sanction had not simply been erased. The organization even argued the move was not unprecedented, claiming similar decisions had been issued during qualifying for this very World Cup. That part was technically true, and it involved one of the biggest names in the sport. Cristiano Ronaldo had received a red card in the qualifier against Ireland in November 2025, a ban that threatened to keep him out of Portugal's opening World Cup matches. FIFA used the same mechanism to put that suspension on hold, so there was a precedent of sorts. But there was one enormous difference. Reporting indicated that no red card issued during a World Cup finals tournament had failed to produce a suspension since 1962. More than 6 decades of consistent enforcement, and the streak ended days after the president of the host nation called the president of FIFA